The new Prius is way more powerful, it's pretty good looking, and it somehow stays true to its roots because this will be the most efficient Prius yet. Let's start with power because it wasn't until recent years where powerful cars could actually be efficient. Hybrids were historically lame and slow. In fact, the last generation Prius had the same power as one of the cheapest cars you could buy in America, the Nissan Versa. But today, it has more power than respectable sedans like an Accord or Camry. The new Prius even has more power than a Civic Si sports sedan, which has got to be pretty embarrassing for Honda. This is a huge change in direction for Toyota because the Prius has always been about creating a reliable, efficient vehicle. Power and performance were never given a second thought as the American model only gained a mere 7 horsepower after more than 2 decades. To put that into perspective, the Honda Civic has gained more than 50 horsepower during the same period, all while still making improvements to efficiency. However, companies like Tesla have taught us that, unlike the internal combustion engine where bigger, more powerful engines almost always lead to less efficiency, electric motors don't need to sacrifice efficiency in the name of performance. Not only are Teslas the most powerful EVs on the market, they're also the most efficient.
At Tesla, we don't make slow cars.
Since hybrids also use electric motors, they too can benefit from powerful, efficient motors in the same fashion. The Prius builds on this principle as it now comes with 196 horsepower as standard or 220 if you go for the Prius Prime. That's a huge upgrade from the 121 horsepower in the outgoing model, and although it does get a slightly bigger engine, you can be sure that most of that power is thanks to the improved electric motors. The 5th generation Prius Prime will now do 0 to 60 in as little as 6.6 seconds, while the standard Prius will take 7.2 seconds or 7 seconds for the all-wheel drive version. Of course, the Prius isn't a sports car, but for once, the Prius will be comparable or even quicker than most other cars in its price range. It also means that doing things like accelerating from 0 to 60 at a moderate pace will feel a little more seamless and quiet, unlike this. While the last generation got up to 56 miles per gallon combined, the new one gets 57, and since Hyundai has discontinued the Ioniq Blue, this means that for 2023 the Prius will actually be the most efficient hybrid for sale. To add to that efficiency, the Prius Prime can be plugged in and it now gets a whopping 50% increase in pure electric driving range over the last model. The official numbers aren't out yet, but that figure should be somewhere around 38 miles. And this is an important number because the average commute in the US is around 40 miles, which means that the Prius Prime can be a pure EV most of the time for most people. The RAV4 Prime is a plug-in hybrid that has an electric range of 42 miles, and some owners who plug in at home and charge mostly on electric power are reporting that they can achieve well over 1,000 miles of range on a single gas tank. Some are reporting over 2,000 miles, which is pretty insane. I can't wait to see what people are able to get out of the new Prius Prime. There are many who are upset at Toyota, including some of its own investors, because they haven't made as strong of a commitment to pure electric vehicles like their competitors. Go to any auto show and you will find electric vehicles everywhere from pretty much anyone. They are the future, and Toyota is dabbling in it, but they just don't see that the technology is ready, especially on the scale that they need it to be. Tesla has poured more time, money, and effort into batteries than anyone else, and if they stopped making electric cars and gave all of their battery capacity to Toyota, they would only electrify a fraction of the nearly 10 million units Toyota sells annually. As it is, Toyota already can't keep up with the battery demands of its plug-in hybrids because the RAV4 Prime has a waitlist that spans longer than a year. With the amount of batteries that are used to create a single Model Y or Model 3, you could make 4.5 RAV4 Primes, and with the new Prius Prime, that number will probably be more than 6. While Toyota is pouring billions into expanding its battery supply, in the meantime, hybrids are its best option, and making the hybrid a better vehicle is crucial to their success. The Prius has always been a staple of what's possible with hybrid technology, and if you look at previous generations that made modest improvements to efficiency but keeping power at a minimum, you might think that we have reached the limit of what's possible. However, with a more than 80% increase in power, all while making improvements to efficiency, Toyota has shown the world that it's still just getting started with hybrid technology, and I can't wait to see what happens next. This is a big gamble by Toyota, but in the coming years, we're going to be seeing more hybrids with more power, greater efficiency, and better pure electric driving range from those plugins. So, what do you think of the new Prius? Would you consider buying one or driving one? Let me know in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.